Welcome back to Hostess Training, Section 2. Guests with Special Needs. On occasion, guests that require special needs may visit our establishment. Treat folks with disabilities just as you would any other guest, but be alert to making the proper accommodations for them. Attempt to seat disabled guests, seniors, and special needs guests as soon as possible. This gesture is a courtesy to those guests who require special assistance. If a guest is in a wheelchair, make a note by their name so you can make sure to assign them to a table that is able to accommodate wheelchairs. If a guest is blind, it is a nice gesture to verbally offer them your arm. Do not grab theirs because it may startle them. Make sure to inform the party's assigned server about the special needs and accommodations. Special note: California law requires anyone with a service dog to be allowed to bring it into the restaurant. Currently, there is no requirements to provide any documentation for the dog. Offer outdoor seating first. Try to seat any guest with service dog in a lower traffic area where the dog will not be disturbed, away from the kitchen, restrooms, tables with children, or entrance and exit areas. All service dogs are to remain on the floor at all times. Service dogs are never allowed to be on the furniture, nor being held near the table or eating food from the guest dishes. The rule here is to use common sense and good judgment and always involve a manager if there is the slightest challenge. Large parties and shared seating. We welcome large parties to our restaurant. Since waits for large parties typically run longer than for small parties, ask parties if they want to split their party into 2 smaller groups to help decrease their wait time. If they are willing to split, aim to seat the split parties close together or in adjacent booths or tables. Here are some general guidelines to remember. Never seat guests at a dirty table and never stack the menus on the table. Always place them in front of each guest. Anticipate guest needs. For example, bring a high chair to any party with a child. Always follow proper waiting list procedure. Don't try to memorize. It doesn't always work. Follow our grace period policy and do your best to avoid ever sending away customers. Remember, we are in the business of creating loyal guests. Acknowledge and greet the arriving guests in a timely manner. This is an important part of being efficient and polite. Please note, many customers will turn around and leave within minutes after entering the restaurant because the staff does not acknowledge their arrival. Be sure to make an extra effort to greet them and make them feel welcome. Remember to follow our standards and guidelines so we can avoid receiving the following comments. These are real-life examples of social media and online feedback that we have received in the past. Listen carefully, and let's work together to make sure they don't happen again. We literally walked out of this place after waiting at a sticky table with no service whatsoever after 25 minutes. Ridiculous, and will not come back. We were seated quickly, but weren't approached by the waitress for about 10 minutes, not in a timely manner. We were seated at a table that had been wiped down, but the floor had not been swept. There were burger toppings, a spilled milkshake, and silverware on the floor under the table. I sat down with my son, and we were not given a children's menu. There were 4 top tables open, but they wouldn't seat us because we were only 2. We waited 18 minutes for a table while there were 3 tables completely open. It should be first come, first serve. We can eliminate these complaints by remembering the following host responsibilities. Acknowledge the guest immediately when they arrive. Make sure all tables are clean and ready to be seated before the guest sits down. Make sure the area surrounding the table is clean and free of debris. Show extra attention to guests with children or special needs. Make sure the server is aware of new tables in the restaurant. If the servers are busy, acknowledge the guest on your own and keep following up with the table until the servers are ready. Although we strive to keep larger tables reserved for larger parties, never allow this to become an argument with the guest. Finally, we're going to discuss something unique at Barney's, our grace period. This is one of our guest service policies that makes us special, and it is managed by all team members. Please listen carefully. If it is 9:33 p.m., which is 3 minutes past normal closing time, and the restaurant is still busy with people looking at menus, there is no one who would ever be happy if they were turned away by a host, telling them, "We close at 9:30. Especially if there was no hospitality and no explanation or empathy. If someone has come all the way to our place of business, found a parking place, and then come to our door hungry, we absolutely owe it to them to let them in and serve them as we would anyone else. When we let someone in a little past closing time, under reasonable circumstances, they become a loyal guest. Wouldn't you? Of course you would. That's what it's all about. We need to carefully respect and manage people's expectations and always jump on opportunities to create loyal guests. Always be graceful towards our guests. To help you manage this policy, here are our grace period guidelines. Providing a grace period after closing is an integral part of our customer service. Our typical grace period is 10 minutes past closing time. This allows us to seat guests who may have otherwise been turned away. When the restaurant is busy, it is very important that you inform the kitchen that you will be seating more guests past closing time. The kitchen will agree to remain open to accommodate the grace period. If a guest comes in after the 10-minute grace period, very politely apologize and inform the guest that the kitchen has closed. That concludes our hostess training presentation. We hope this exercise helps you perform your duties and be a successful part of the team here at Barney's Gourmet Hamburgers. Please take the test on the material we have just covered. Thank you for participating. Good luck!